2022. You wake up, your life sucks. Job is terrible. Your girl hates you. If she even exists, she probably doesn't. You're broke, you're out of shape, you're eating seed oils. So you put some Travis Scott branded Reese's Puffs, in the bowl, you eat them up, you open TikTok. Andrew Tate, Hasbullah, Andrew Tate. But then a young man appears. Bushy head of hair, young features. You know what I mean? And he said, how to make 100K if you're a dummy? You're like, I'm a dummy. I want to make 100K. Now you're in. Cash flow syndicate. You Discorded. You're copywriting. You're blowing up. You're looking at the minivan with the Hellcat engine. You goaded with the sauce. This is all thanks to one man, Mason Disick. Sorry. It's Carter Mason. And we'd like to welcome him to the pod with his associate, the funnel guy, Ben Hader. Do you guys want to break down the pyramid scheme that you guys are running for the listenership?
It's one hell of a pyramid scheme. Mason, I'll let you start this one off since you're top of funnel on it.
So basically, every time someone comes in, we get them to recruit 10 people, and then we won't threaten their life.
Okay, so then they get to 10 people below that, right? Is that how that works?
So a lot of times we see, like now, because it's getting big and the incentives are so strong that people are actually having kids just so they can bring them in Catholic thinking.
Oh, I get you. Children. Oh, so you're really on that Herbalife right here. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, literally. Like we're bringing people literally into the world. Talk about a cold lead. Like these are newborn babies that are making $20,000 a month copywriting.
Wow.
Never thought we teach them how to read just so we can sell them.
I love that.
You know how like the number of illegal immigrants in America has gone up by like 50x? It's because of the Discord. Like we're bringing people into America.
It's the pipeline. It's the Ecuador to cash flow syndicate pipeline that we've been hearing so much about.
Right. Because they know how severe the punishment is if they join cash flow syndicate and don't bring 10 people in. And so it's really a race against the clock.
Swag.
So people are doing anything and everything they can.
So what percent of the copywriting volume of the world do you think you're currently executing at now? Like we know it's double digit. Where do you think it's sitting?
Double digits? I don't know.
20% of the world's copywriting. 20%.
20%. We can say that.
Yeah, right. But all jokes aside, unconfirmed whether or not this is a pyramid scheme, but you guys want to break down what it is you do?
Tell us about yourselves a little bit.
Yeah. Complete bio. Start at birth.
Ben, I think they think that you are cashless syndicate with me.
Well, he went the funnel. The funnel man. Yeah.
So I'm working with Mason on Copy MBA, which is a how to actually write copy. Cashflow Syndicate's like how to build the agency and all of that. Copy's more.
Yeah, it's just that Cashflow Syndicate's a great name. It rolls off the tongue, so it's easy for us to just say associate with anything. Yeah.
So I run an agency separate from Cashflow Syndicate and Copy MBA. Copy MBA is a client of mine, I guess. And I do funnels, ads, emails for coaches, course creators, and just help them make more money. They make more money, I make more money, and everybody makes more money. So
beautiful. Boom. I think actually that's an interesting segue into something you guys both work on, which is Internet Kids, right? We were talking about that before a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that, just because you guys both work on it. And I think how I initially saw you guys on the interwebs and was like, oh, this resonates with me in a really fucking deep way. Because I candidly, the way I sort of feel is that Colin, Oren, and I, Oren texted me the other day. He was like, man, these kids are just if I was where they're at when I was their age, like Colin, Oren, and I are just old men for sure. Like very jealous of where you guys are at your age, but just like tell us about Internet Kids and then like how you got into all this shit, like making magic internet monies, you know?
Wait, Ben, before you explain the project, can I talk about how Danny and I came in?
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
This used to be a crypto project run by Ben and his partner, Harry Swales, who you guys might know. Cool guy, genius. Really heavy into like NFTs. They came up at the perfect time. It was like right in the middle of like the whole NFT boom. Everything was popping. And then NFTs started to go downhill. And so they stopped working on it. And then I owed this other guy money because he paid for like this massive Airbnb that we went to. And it was like $15,000 for a week. And I had to pay my share. And he didn't want to accept money from PayPal for some reason. But that as a Canadian, that's the only way I could pay this dude. And so I was like, dude, why don't we just buy this little Internet Kids business and just take half and then we'll get this little kid Harry out of here and we'll just own it. And then I'll just pay for your share too. And we got a pretty sweet valuation on it. And so he was like, all right, sounds good. And so instead of just paying him back the money that I owed, we just bought a company.
Yo, we don't talk
Sick.
enough about creative deal structure. That's amazing. So like that was like half of a third of an Airbnb trip as a down payment, and then a note on the other $12.
I dig it. So what is Internet Kids now?
So, well, it started as a NFT project that gave you access to clothing, events, and the community. So you buy the NFT. I think our mint price was like one soul, whatever soul was at the time, like $200. RIP.
You traded those Solons for dollars, though, right? Please, Ben, tell me you traded the Sol for dollars.
Look at his face.
Okay. Like we made zero money from this. Like, So first mint went super well. We had 200 supply at about 200 soul. Or $200 per soul, and we sold out in 9 minutes. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And obviously we have fulfillment costs. So there's the clothing, there's the event that we ended up throwing a couple months later. So even with that, like we were going to have slim margins, but it was still going to be profitable. However, the problem was we hired a dev from Fiverr, and he did everything really well. He actually, like, everything was set up well. The website looked good. The wallets were set up. The NFTs, everything went smoothly with that. But we started selling out, and Harry, my partner, was looking at the wallet that the soul was going into, and it would get put in there, get deposited in, and then it would leave. And he was like, oh, shit. The dev has access to this wallet. And I don't know if he had, like, 800 people in the Philippines that were like doing it at fucking light speed, but Harry starts like taking it and trying to deposit the soul into one of his wallets that the dev obviously didn't have access to, and that wasn't super successful. So in total, I think we made about 30K in soul on the first drop, and we kept 6. So that didn't cover any of the actual clothing costs, shipping. We had a 3PL, all that kind of stuff. So we were in a hole, and we'd already gone like 20 grand out of pocket just to put this shit together. So the next mint, we moved it up because it was originally going to be like a month or 2 months after that one. So we moved it up, and we still sold a high volume. We didn't sell out because we overshot. We needed to recoup the money that we lost. And then like we did end up recovering it. Like the event was sweet. The clothing's sick. It's still dope to see people that are rocking the clothing all over the world. And I think that's the biggest aspect that's been successful. So that's why Mason and I are going to keep running with it.
Sick.
And the event was probably the coolest part as well, is like just seeing 30, 40 guys that are all from Twitter that just resonated with the message actually show up in person.
Yeah.
That was fucking sick.
So what did you rate the contractor on? Like, what did the Fiverr contractor get rated after all this?
Yeah, like
was it like a straight 0? Was it like a 3 because he did good web work?
Totally a 5.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this is you got. I think we've all got before, right?
Yeah.
I got for 100K one time. It's a lesson. You got to learn a lesson. Everyone's got to get got once or twice, right? For you to learn. It sounds shitty, but it's just a reality.
Right. The thing is, it could have been way worse. Like, he could have made the NFT profile pictures like random nudes. He could have like fucked up a bunch of other shit. And thank God he at least didn't do, like, that would have completely ruined the entire project, and like we wouldn't have been able to continue.
Well, he wanted it to be successful because then he could profit off the back end. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Smart guy, man.
That's dope.
Props to him. He probably needed it more than we do.
Yeah. Kudos to him.
So is he currently in Copy MBA, or do you guys just completely break off?
We got him in the cash flow syndicate. He blew the 24 grand. And
he's on the weekly payment plan for cash.
Yeah, but he hasn't got upsold yet.
He's been paying in soul. It's really not paying off really well. I think actually that brings me to, like, I don't know how it brings you to it, but I do want to touch on how this is not to, Ben, you just took a moment there, but I do want to give a moment to talk about how Mason is just sort of the GOAT of TikTok. And I just think there's and I think I first time I seen Mason fucking rap and play a guitar, and it was in a Twitter video. And I was like, whoa, this kid's like actually like just really talented. And when I say kid, I call everyone kid. It's not like I'm saying you're a kid. Like,
James is 64, so it is what it is. He's just a young looking 60.
See the gray. But I do want to, other than talk about Mason's sort of obviously he's sick with a Telecaster. He's sick with on the at rapping, but just organic TikTok content. This man has figured out exactly what his audience wants, and every single thing he does hits. You got written up in like The Sun or something the other day. You're like,
Yeah,
you're going into
that was
mainstream
wild.
traditional media. Is that what's happening now?
People thought I paid for that. I did not pay for that. I was surprised by that. Someone sent me that.
I love that.
Yeah, this happened with Colin and Barstool at one point too, or something like that.
Yeah, it did happen with
And
Colin,
everyone's
yeah.
like, oh, yeah,
Lad Bible, but yeah.
Wait,
classic lad.
You got a Lad Bible?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wrote up a thread, or they wrote up like, yeah.
That's mainstream. That's like finger on the pulse type shit. I don't know.
I don't know. The Sun's pretty mainstream too.
Yeah,
For
that's
what
like,
it's worth.
yeah.
Yeah,
But much
that's
more
some
for
like
old people.
my
The Sun's
mom's
pretty-
friends are really rolling through the sun on a daily basis.
So, and Ben, obviously you're good at TikTok too, but Mason, you just have us all beat in like a really fucking insane way. And the first video you did hit, right? It was the first one you did. The second video I did like 7,000 followers in like a day. But you did like one that just cracked for you in the very beginning, right?
Yeah, so I started this TikTok account. I really had no idea what I was doing. And honestly, like it was a thing we were trying to do for a while. 'Cause, like we saw what Tate was doing. It wasn't super related because like obviously I have nowhere near the amount of content that Tate has, but me and my partner David both realized that there is an audience on TikTok for this. And so I opened an account and I posted 2 videos, and one was kind of like sort of like the anti-dropshipper. Like if you're trying to start with zero, don't do dropshipping because you're just going to blow a bunch of money and make a bunch of mistakes. And then the other one was sort of like the story of like how I went from making $12 an hour to making whatever, right? And so those, I watched them get like 2-3 views, and then I woke up, and then the next day they each had like 15,000. And I was like, wait, what? And so I just started railing it, and I was like, I did a couple, and then by the end of the weekend, I did this one video, like if you think that you need to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer to make $100K a year, which by the way, that's like the most stolen hook I've ever had. It's insane.
I even stole that shit.
I'm gonna steal it now.
Yeah, straight up. We're all gonna make a video after this homework assignment.
It's literally insane. But yeah, that one popped, and then I was like, okay, I think like, and then I just started to like, it was a iterative process of learning more about like how to speak to people on TikTok, because it's very different from Twitter. I thought it was gonna be the same. Because like I've been doing Twitter. Well, I've been on money Twitter since like 2018 or 2019, and like tweeting properly since like 2021. So I thought I had it down, but TikTok is a completely different animal. You just have to entertain. It's really fun.
And be a little. And what's interesting about hooks is that like my third biggest video is just using Ben's hook. So what I realized about stitches was that like as long as you do it right, like I just get to pull off someone's hook. So Ben had something that was hitting. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to say a different reason of what his thing was like why being smart hurts you, right? Like these negative hooks, right? Which is like sort of a thing that obviously works on TikTok really well is the negative hooks. Like, you're doing 3 things wrong, whatever. Actually, I think all my 3 biggest videos, I have one with 500,000 views, one with like 75,000 and one with 30,000. And they're all stitches. And it's just me stealing other people's hooks and just trying to ride off someone else's hooks.
Dude, sorry, do we want to workshop your hooks right now? We got copywriters on the call. Yeah.
No, but I am down to fucking pay you motherfuckers to tell me workshop hooks later. I think that what's interesting is that for the 3 of us as old kings, you know what I mean, as old kings trying to take over the TikTok internet vibe, it's a little bit different to your point about like TikTok being different than Twitter. I think that I have a decent understanding of TikTok because I basically realized that I had been writing hooks and short form content essentially for the past 3 years just on Twitter, but it is nuancedly different than TikTok, right? Like sort of the way that I know how to do things is like, bam, you know what I mean? It's this fucking sort of like energetic, like in your face, disrupt your shit that I think comes from I'm 34, right? Like,
can you repeat that again? Can we get the bam?
Bam! You know, but my point is like, it feels like with you guys both, it's like very nonchalant, right? It feels like more of like a Gen Z pull away from my millennial version, which is like, let's fully fucking disrupt you and try and rip you in, which might work for an ad, I'm assuming, right? But like in terms of like organically. So my question for you guys both is just sort of what is the fucking like, what's the very basic formula? Obviously it's nuanced for every person, but like what is working for you guys and what continues to work? Like what should people be doing?
I'll add real quick because I want Ben to go into this because he's like technically better than, like, your hooks are better than mine. I don't know what it is. I think I look nice. You look kind of mean sometimes.
I do think how good looking you are plays into it. That's why I'm bigger than these guys on TikTok. But like, it is what it is, you know.
No, Ben's just a scary looking guy. But I think like one of the worst hooks that you can do on TikTok is stop scrolling. I hate when people do that. I've tried that. It always flops because people don't want to be told what to do. It has to feel natural because like if you look at all the stuff that they're like you don't want to disrupt. You want to kind of blend in on TikTok.
Interesting.
If you can blend in for long enough, they're going to watch the whole video, and that retention rate is one of the most important things that you can like
the watch time
like in your video. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
I always look at the metrics on my videos, and like if I see it's between like 15 and 20% on a video that's getting a lot of likes too, like the like to view ratio is really good, then I know it's going to go. But the ones that don't have the best retention rate, even if it's getting a lot of likes, like it doesn't really matter. It's like it just won't like skyrocket.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When I look too, it's like Colin and I are always like, "What the fuck?" Like this video we did has like a great likes to follow ratio. You know what I mean? A great likes ratio. It's getting saves. It's getting shares. But it seems to be that the main fucking thing is how much of the video people watch. Right? Is like sort of watch time. Maybe shares as well. And actually, we used to when we were first doing this, like, you know, I think there's still people that just will like any of my videos because they're homies. We're like, dude, I'm at this point, and not that my account's big. I just cracked 10,000 like 2 days ago, but it's a point now where it's like, yo, if you're just gonna like and not watch my video, don't even fucking like it. You know what I mean? I'd much rather you just fucking let that shit run through. You know what I mean? Then because I think that probably the algo recognizes it's bullshit when it's like the same 10 accounts just like your fucking shit and don't ever fucking watch it.
Yeah, I think it's likes and comments, bro. Like the comments are definitely big. Mace, we've talked about this. It's with TikTok especially, and I think this goes for most things that are B2C or just like to a less intelligent audience. It's dumbing it down. Like the better you can dumb it down, the more it's going to resonate. And Mason is so good at just seeming like a normal dude. And like before he tries to tell it, so fucking nah. Like Mason will actually like you'll talk to him and you'll think he's like a normal. You'll watch a TikTok video and he'll make it sound like, oh, I'm just some normal guy that fell into this money. He's not fucking normal. Like this kid is special. Like the other day,
I've seen him play guitar. I've seen him play guitar, dude.
Before Mason tries to sell you some bullshit on like, oh, I'm not special. Anyone can do this. The other day, I realized I did not know like where any of the states are in the U.S. So I started playing this game where I would just it would give me a state. I'd have to pick where it was on the map. After 2 hours, I knew all of them, and I was fucking quick. Like I made it a game, and I could get through it in like probably 2 minutes. No, 2.5 minutes. And I showed Mason. Mason's fucking Canadian. He doesn't know where
he knew where all the territories between Ontario and Quebec were. Yeah.
But like myself, he got hooked quickly. And after like an hour and a half, he calls me back and he has all of them memorized and we start racing. And this motherfucker is so fast. Like he went from no knowledge of where the states were to like in under a minute. He got it under a minute. He could go through. No, wait, did you get under? Was it under a minute or under 2?
When we were racing, I was hitting like 120, but now I can get it like I got 56 seconds today.
No, you got to up the ratio though. We got to go. All the principalities in China. If you can be like Guangzhou, Ningbo, Shenzhen, then that's the new game.
Before we depart from TikTok, I think like Mason, you really have like the grail with what you're doing, because you've captured. There's this whole genre of typically females, girls, who blow up and get huge off of talking to their friends over FaceTime. It just happens to be on TikTok to millions of people, right? And what you're doing, your approach to TikTok is basically that, which obviously is way easier to produce than a lot of the people that are taking TikTok really seriously and trying to build. And then you have the layer on top of that, which is everything you're saying has this like built-in offer behind it. So it's like like your production value, no offense, is like effectively zero, which is amazing. And then the narrative itself, like the narrative itself is the offer. It's just like an absolute home run. And I think that, I don't know, you've got some magic in a bottle with that, because a lot of people, myself included, can put a lot more energy into that with way I don't want to say worse, but worse results or lack thereof.
It's worse. It's cool.
It's absolutely magic in a bottle. Like really, because a lot of those girls that are doing that, where they're just talking to their friends and there's a million of them, is there's no vehicle to create value behind it or create a business behind it, right? Or they're doing dances that are the new trends, so on and so forth. But you've got magic in a bottle, dude. Seriously.
My favorite was the what you put on Twitter where it was like, I'm just so happy that you're not trying to sell me a course or whatever the comment was. And you're like, no. Don't get it twisted. I'm trying to sell you a course.
Yeah, no, he was
100% selling your
he was
courses.
like, he was like, you can tell this guy's legit because he's not trying to sell you a course. And I'm like, yes, I am. Like, of course, he's trying to sell you a course. Why not I be making 5 TikToks a day and going live every night, even like as I'm like deathly ill right now? It's like, of course. But like, dude, I honestly think like this is the best like overall funnel, not like how Ben does funnels. Ben's obviously the funnel whiz, but like approachable, like, and dude, this is the comment that I love the most. Like, this is what actually like makes me feel like I'm doing something right, is when people say like, yo, I see a lot of these like make money online videos, but and like they all seem like BS to me, but for some reason I just trust you. And that is huge to me. That's literally everything.
Yeah.
And so like, and the fact that we can give people like, because for people always get confused like between the difference between like cashless syndicate and copy MBA. Copy MBA is more advanced. It's like legit everything in my brain about copywriting. Cashless syndicate is like baby's first business, right? So it's like we give you like all the context that I wish I had in my first 3 months when I started, so I could progress faster, and that just gives you this sort of direction to like go wherever you want. So if you want to buy copy MBA, you can.
Do you guys affiliate for each other, or do you guys send each other clients? Like, what does that look like for you?
Do we affiliate?
Like for each other, between Cashflow and copy MBA.
Between the programs?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all mine. I mean, Chase gets half like everything copy MBA does. And then David is like 50% of Cashless Syndicate.
Did you see what did the adding the weekly tier do to the conversion?
We were always weekly. We actually added monthly and really more recently. So it used to be just $9 a week. That was what we would charge. And it was kind of like at the time, like Money Twitter Premium, because we didn't have TikTok. We were just, me and David were just on Twitter, and we were just coming up, and we were answering a lot of questions about like marketing and copywriting, email, whatever. And so we thought like, okay, we'll just open a Discord. And we had a couple hundred people in there for a while. But then we started going on TikTok, and everyone in there was like completely brand new, had no idea about anything. So we had to change the product. We had to basically take it from Money Twitter Premium to like it is now, baby's first business. Like make it as basic as possible, because people would come in, be like, I don't know what any of this means, and then they would leave and like pocket, right? And so now our retention is the best it's ever been, because we hired, didn't hire, we're not paying her anything. It's David's girlfriend is like basically like a community manager. And she's just like this Swedish girl that just like says welcome to everybody, and she's just like smiling. Everything's great.
Makes a difference. Real quick. So Ben, are you in Miami?
Yeah.
Okay. And Mason, are you in Canada or New York?
I'm in Canada, but I'm moving down to Miami. Like,
is that why you're going live so much? Is because you're in Canada, or is it just
no,
part of the?
No, it's just because like it's like a webinar. That's why I go live.
No, I'm just I assume we're doing it because it prints money, but I just also couldn't tell if you guys have like a really. If I pulled up at Saturday night, I'm like, man, does he just have a really dull time in Vancouver, or is this?
Cold as fuck, bro. It snowed last night. It was terrible.
I do want to hit on the what you mentioned about funnels. I think it's relevant too with what Ben does. Is there's this idea of like the organic funnel, and then obviously someone who really knows how to do funnel building, and like the interplay between those two. But we'd love to like, get some perspective on, hey, what is the right time to switch from this organic funnel to the paid funnel, or should I just start with paid and then add organic, or how do you kind of put those things in a bucket? How do you complement the two of them?
Yeah, dude, organic is a fucking cheat code. Like, I am so jealous of the people that can print with organic, and the cap that I thought you could get to just organic is actually way higher than I originally thought. Like, I know people that are doing 7 figures a month just organic. And it's insane. So I think they complement each other. If I had to pick one or the other, it would be organic. One or the other to work, it would be organic, just because then you're feeding your email list. Then you can optimize everything with that and scale from there.
Not to mention,
that
I mean,
being said,
you can't buy the trust and the connection that like Mason gets with what he does on a paid ad. Like, you can't, right? You leave that arena when you start paying for it, and it has a promoted tag next to it, et cetera.
100%. And organic also really, really helps paid ads, because not everybody that sees you on an ad for the first time is going to buy. They're going to go to your page, follow you, and then 3 months down the line, they're going to convert.
Sure.
what's cool about Hyros and all these other tracking softwares, I don't get Hyros because it's fucking expensive. Get AnyTrack.
Oren and I are investors in Triple Whale, so we're only a Triple Whale family here. Candidly.
We're going to actually bleep out the name you did prior, and then we're going to workshop your voice into a ringing endorsement of Triple Whale.
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm shitting on Hyros. Well, like it is sick. I'm sure Triple Whale's the same.
You got beef in these streets. You come to Miami, you know what I'm saying? Caps up.
Come on, Alex Becker. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. What's cool about it is that you can see like the entire customer journey. Like I can see when somebody clicks on an ad at the beginning of the year in January or February, and they convert this month. So like every now and then I'll do that, and I'll go down the rabbit hole, and I'll see like, okay, they originally found us YouTube organic, or they originally found us on this ad, and then they watched this video, and then they clicked on this email link. So it definitely works together. And what's dope is when you get organic working, it makes paid easier, and then when you get paid working, it's just infinitely scalable. Like if you're spending $1 on Facebook and making $2 back, and you can do that at scale, like just keep spending more until it breaks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing I've realized too is that like from organic versus paid is that like what I preach a lot to people these days is that like paid, you can force it with paid. You can, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like you want to hit me 30 times with an ad, like you can force some stuff with paid a bit, but like really I see mostly, you know, I can't, my old school background from like 15 plus years ago was affiliate marketing, right? And like we were running paid for affiliate offers, like it was just a different game at the time. But in general, like these days it's like paid is, because it's so much tougher, is like the best gasoline for a fire if that fire of organic already exists, right? So it's like, okay, cool, you're doing $1 million a month organically, wait till you fucking throw some fucking ad dollars behind that. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
Yeah, no, and we have a lot of listeners that have, you know, some of these programs, just selling some basic info. They're doing their funnel, they're following the program. Well, when is the right time to put that, to James' point, like get that fuel on the fire? Or like when you recommend they actually go to a paid? That question is
good question. I'd say you can start trying with paid as long as your offer is validated and you have the steps in place to scale. Like you have the closers, or if it's just selling a product directly on the sales page, like that's all good, and you can just feed that engine. And then outside of that, it's really just like being able to fulfill at scale. If there's any fulfillment involved, like with a lot of these coaching programs, sometimes it's group calls, like it's more hands-on the more people you bring on. So as long as you can fulfill at scale, like once the offer is validated, you can start paid ASAP.
James, how come you aren't doing paid?
It's actually something I've spoken to Ben about before. I've thought a lot about running paid to my offer. It probably will be something we do in 2023, right? That's next year, right? Yeah, in 2023. Been working on a VSL for it. I think it's to sort of Ben's original point. It's because like candidly, in terms of like bandwidth and energy, like right now, like for $0, I'm hitting these numbers, right? Yep. And so it's like, and then actually what I'm working on, I know this was like a sort of tongue-in-cheek question, Colin, but like for everyone else listening, part of that is like, to Ben's point, setting up the back end for me to be able to handle paid. Like I'm sort of capped out in terms of what I can do fulfillment wise and the way my offer is structured. And for us to handle paid and for us to be able to double or triple the amount of people coming into that funnel requires just a bit more like making sure the fulfillment is there, and that like currently, you know, we have, I mean, I just fucking paid $15,000 to do closers, which is Cole Gordon's program, right? For them to set a closer into my team. And by the way, for everyone listening that is not on Money Twitter, closer is an SDR essentially, right? Like this is sort of like, we all call it closers, but like these are just salespeople. Fucking Oren with Dexter on his lap. I love that, bro.
This dog is a problem at all times.
But anyway, to Ben's point is that like, it's been amazing how much I've been able to scale this side business by accident fully with organic traffic, like without even meaning to. And like, shout out to Dan, to Cold Email Wizard, because he's the one who convinced me to sell a course ever. Like, I was like, man, I'm not fucking selling a course on the internet. That's some cornball stuff. And he's like, bro, just tweet about it and see what people pay for it. And I tweeted about it. And now, you know, whatever, X amount of dollars later, we're here, and that's become a big thing for me.
$100,000 later.
And $14,000 later, here I am. No,
Wait, talk about how insane of a business info is just in general? Like Ben knows this. I know it. James, like, Oren and Colin, like, do you guys comprehend like how insane info
No,
is? Like,
it's the next, for sure. I mean, that's the next. I don't know. My stuff launches probably this week.
We're on the
I think
precipice.
we're coming out of a zeitgeist where people feel like it's a dirty thing
It's
to
true.
sell courses, where it's like
Yeah.
2 years ago, every course on the market kind of sucked, right? Where it's like everyone just assumed that if you're selling a course, you're a loser and you suck, and like you're not actually selling anything of value. Now, it seems like people are becoming more receptive to that because it's just becoming more normalized. And the people that started a year ago are like just now ramping up. And it's crazy to watch. Like Ben was talking about. You want to talk about the guy you told me about yesterday?
I don't want to name the name.
Yeah, keep it anonymous.
That's fine. Carl, what's Carl doing?
Mace, are you talking about Mr. Numbers?
Yep.
Dude, it's absurd. So without giving too much away, somebody with a very, very strong organic audience
It's cool. We're not going to edit this, so it's perfect.
But also to your point, Ben, I'll tell you just really quickly. I've had moments because I'm a very, very, very small player in the Infoproduct space, but I have some friends who make a lot of money to the point where we were talking about how they lie about how much money they make because they make so much money that it's completely uncomfortable to people, right? The idea of making $4 million a month organically through an info product, you know what I mean? Like then they tell people they make $400K a month because it's so fucking insane to people that is actually what's happening. So I get it. It's
yeah.
Don't blow up into
Exactly.
spot,
He's in that kind of position, and it's all organic. Like it's no email, no ads, just strong fucking audience. It blows my mind the type of numbers that people like that guy can do without optimizing anything. Like it's a shit show on the back end. Like it's a shit show, and when they're closing everybody, like I doubt the CRM is updated and looks good. There's like not a big sales team, but it just prints money. It's absurd.
You love to see
it. I had a breakthrough moment when I saw my wife bought a course, and I just like saw the charge from the credit card. I was just like, and it was like some shit for like picky eating for kids or something. I'm like, our kid's not even a picky eater. And I was just like, oh, you're just like, yeah. And now she's like in the paid community, and I was like, oh, like then I'm doing the math. I'm like, oh, like how many of these do you really get marketed? How many of these do you really get pushed? And she's like, oh, well, it's just one influencer I follow on Instagram. She started her thing. I've kind of liked it. I'm like, oh, like it's so early for all of these niches. Like we're in obviously the bleeding edge of like everyone we're around is all obsessed with making money. So it makes sense that they're in the mix of that. But like selling to millennial moms or like, there's so much still there. But I don't know, I guess it's the dirty thing is a big thing too, because I've gone through this a lot, especially with my email list. My email list is full like VCs and people that own very legitimate companies that are like potential clients. And I'm like, what are they going to think if I start hawking X or Y? But then in some of the conversations recently, I started realizing people were just assuming I'm already selling a course on the back end. And especially some of those people were like, oh, well, you're obviously like selling a course, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, I might as well now. I need to just jump the gap, right?
Well, and to Mason's point, I think it's like, I do think that the zeitgeist is changing. It really is. And I think we look at these, like, you could see it as the internet bubble. You could see it as crypto bubble, right? You see in the beginning of these things, they get fucking massive and you fill a bunch of bad actors and the bubble pops, right? And I think we saw that in info in some regard. And now maybe we're coming out of this winter of info where everyone thinks it's bad. But really straight up, I will tell you right now that like, if you want to learn how to be a copywriter or a media buyer or any of these things, I am 1000% positive that you're going to get better information in an online program than you are going to like some top like Ivy League school or some M7 MBA program.
Have? Especially with cohorts, it's like it's 1000% the best way to go to something.
Yeah, right? If you want to learn how to write email copy, you think you'd fucking learn at Stanford? It's just not. It's just like it'd be ridiculous, right? It's just not even. It's just, and it wouldn't be tactical or useful at all. And I do think we're coming out of this situation where now we see like that people spend $250K on a fucking MBA and there's no guarantees of what happens when you leave that shit. You know what I mean? Like you don't get a job, you don't get a job. Cool. I gave you the information. And that was like a sort of interesting mindset shift for me, which is when I first started selling informational products for myself, was like, I just want everyone to win so badly. Like it feels so important to me that if I sell you something that you get a result from that. And you just have to be okay with the reality is that with education is that not everyone's going to follow through with everything, right? That's not on you. right? If you know, and when it comes down to it, is that like you're teaching people information that might not actually just benefit them that day, but might be a benefit for them in the long run, right? So when I teach people how to like buy a website and like work on SEO for it, like, okay, even if you don't flip a website into 3-month program, like the stuff that you're going to get might be applicable for you for the next 6 fucking years, right? And and then same thing with writing copy or building funnel, any of that shit, right? So anyway, just I do think we're coming out of it into a better time.
Agreed. And it's even the investment of spending the money to learn that whatever the course is, like it's literally just the investment that will pay you back, because then you have to do it. Even if the course fucking sucks, then you spent $5,000 or $10,000 to do this thing, and you're like forcing yourself to actually fulfill on promising yourself that you do it.
I think that's a big part of the value that people get out of info products and courses, is that it wasn't mom or dad like cutting a check or the loan that's going to be, you know, in the picture later that's paying for it. It's like the person swiping my card and now committed to this. Probably like that alone probably kicks up the ROI.
For sure.
And it's so interesting, like, because especially when you're selling to people who are brand new, like B2C, a lot of people be like, if it's so good, like why isn't it free? Like if you want everyone to join, like why isn't it free? Like why does it cost this money if you want me to join? It's like, because like you don't understand, like you don't value it if you don't pay for it. Like,
dude, some of those tropes are so real, man. They sound cheesy at first, but it's so fucking true. And actually, in terms of high ticket shit, is it's like the reality is it sounds cornballish, but I have a friend who sells he has courses not in like in MMO, make money online space or anything like that, right? They have a course about leadership. They did $1 million organically on the launch day, like when they first launched, like 6 months ago. And I've spoken to Oren and Colin about this guy before. And then we were like talking about other shit he did. He was like, I bet he said to his partner essentially on it, he was like, I bet we could sell a mastermind. So they're like, all right, 10 spots, $50K, boom, 1 weekend in Cabo. He's like, I went down to Cabo, rented a fucking house, and we did fucking $500K in 3 fucking days. And it just like, and my point is, but we were talking about that $50K price point. And what I'm trying to bring this back to is something Mason was touching on, I think, a little bit, which is that ironically, the people that can spend $50,000 are much more likely to actually find the value out of something at a $50,000 price point, right? So you end up with a more qualified client. You end up with some, like, at least in that world, right? Like, it's not that the person that spent $50K to get more access about leadership and communication fucking like took their last $50,000. The dudes who wrote that $50K check have like $100 million, right? Or like $40 million, $50 million. And to them, it's like, they're looking for the value out of it. They're okay with it. They recognize that, like, and so for me with teaching people how to buy online businesses, for example, like an upmarket offering at $50,000, I'm more likely to have a better client, because if you're paying $2,500 for something, maybe that's your last $2,500. If you're paying $50,000 to like sort of get buy-side M&A advisor in a $500,000, $1 million business,
definitely not your last 50 racks.
It's definitely not your last 50. So you end up with a more likely to succeed client, and people at a higher price point, I think, feel more committed to do it and are more likely to get results, right? It's like, why give it away for free? Because, or super low ticket. I mean, I promise you the refund rates on super low ticket shits are just as fucking high or higher than they are on high tickets.
Do you think if we were in the 80s that we'd all be running churches or like televangelists? Like what would be, like what would happen before the internet? I think that was probably the hustle.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
It was like televangelists.
Best lives ever. Like you just see some dude who gets on stage for like an hour a week on Sunday, and he makes like $5 million a year, and he's got this banging blonde wife, and it's like, this guy could
I think he makes way more than $5 million a year, those dudes. I think those dudes are putting off like Hundo Mill, you know what I mean? It's like weirdo shit.
Oh,
dude.
wait, I'm talking about like the dude that looks like possessed, like what's his name?
No, but I'm just saying in general, a lot of those fucking dudes like flying PJs, running churches.
The dude in Houston.
So on that note, biggest flex purchases from,
Mason keeps touching his face, bro. I see that fucking Jubilee band every time he touches his face, bro.
So I actually wasn't gonna buy this until January. This is a brand new Datejust. What is it? Chocolate dial, Jubilee band.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. And it's
brand
like,
new.
it's nothing crazy. It's nothing crazy, but it's like it was to celebrate a certain milestone that I hit in September. And I wasn't going to buy it until I was like full time living in Miami. But I figured like one of my other boys, actually who I'm moving in with as an illegal immigrant on.
Right. Oh yeah, live your life. That's amazing.
He bought one too. He bought like a Wimbledon dial. It was sick. And this was like, It was actually wasn't that expensive, but it felt like really expensive.
James, you were slinging H-1B visas for a while, right? Is that something we can hook up for the boy?
Yeah, we're doing 90 Day
Mason,
Fiancé
did
run.
you get it from a dealer or aftermarket?
No
resale?
deal. No, we went to the Diamond District.
Dope. Dope.
It was a nice, trustworthy Jewish guy.
All right, what would you, Ben? You know, any recent flex purchases? You know, I mean, you doing the
Miami. That's a flex purchase.
Yeah.
I might have a car on the way.
Yeah, may or may not cannot be confirmed.
A new little Corvette, but I spent $8K on a. Yeah, of course. I spent $8K on a course yesterday, or on a coaching program. That's kind of a flex.
Yeah, for sure. James dropped the $15K on the course real
Dude,
casual.
that was my flex of the fucking week, was to say I dropped 15 racks on a course program. But the reason I bought that because I got 3 friends that are all doing, I'm not going to say who they are. I'm sure you guys, the 2 of them know them. I'm sure you guys know them as well. I got 3 friends who I know who are all went from doing like $100K a month to $300,000 a month, and all attributed it to that program. And all told me were like, immediately they all signed up for the $60,000 mastermind afterwards because they loved the program so much. And they were like, this is so fucking good. So
got it. That was Cole's thing, right?
Yeah, closers.io. Shout out to closers.io. I don't get a commission on this one, but I should. So to give you context on Cole, he used to run. He ran traffic and funnels for Taylor Welch. He was like head of sales.
I watched a webinar of his the other day.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yo, Mason, when do you officially move to Miami?
So I actually already have an apartment, and I was there for like 4 hours, and then I got on a plane, flew back to Buffalo.
Whoops.
That's the flex. That's the fucking flex.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm ready to go back, bro. I'm ready to be like full time Miami. At first I didn't realize I could really live there, because like every time I go down there, it's just a fucking party. Like the last time we were there, me and Ben and Luke and Danny and Sanjay and Miles, we were all in Tampa. And we like partied in Tampa for like a weekend and went insane because of the Client Ascension thing, the mastermind. And then we
were there like to party, and then like we stopped by the Client Ascension thing. Like
literally, yeah. Like it was like a whole weekend thing, and we did the cigar event, and then we were at the thing for like our talk, and then 45 minutes after that. But and then we straight up partied for 2 weeks in Miami, and I was like, holy shit, is this gonna be my life if I live here? But the last week, Ben and I had a long talk, and we were like, dude, like if we actually want to build the shit that we want to build, like we have to like have some sort of discipline down here. And so we both agreed. Ben's been in monk mode. I don't know how you.
Okay, I also like. I don't know how you're like you are the problem. It's like whenever you're here, my habit, like it's not like, oh, we're always partying down here, and then when you come, you're just part of the party. Like you are bringing the party. Like since you have left, I have not hit a vape. I've not had a sip of alcohol.
No, but I'll tell you, I understand Mason's work. So like I had thought about moving to Miami a ton of times. I used to go to Miami a ton for work when I worked in nightlife. And Miami was only partying to me. Last time I went to Miami for F1 earlier this year for like 36 hours, and I was going to die when I hopped on the plane to come back home. But I remember the homie, our mutual friend Luke. So Luke was had built the first funnel for NanoFlips, right, for me, right? And so that's before Luke had moved to Miami. And so Luke and I were like, I was like talking about moving to LA. We were talking all the time at the time. He was like, yo, you should move to Miami too. And in my head, I was like, man, me moving to Miami is just trouble, because all I can think about Miami is just like live story. I'm sure Wall is closed, but like a whole gang, like 11, all like just a bunch of chaos in a way that like I can't handle anymore these days. So I understand your fears, Mason. I get that 100%.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, because you can do it if you want to. Like, there's been nights like literally on like a Monday morning, I'll get an Uber coming out of space at like 8 a.m. And like, I have to be on a Zoom call in an hour.
Like, look, it was a 24-hour DJ set. I had to stay for the whole thing.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And so like you can do it if you want to. And I think like, but the cool thing is like when I did get into a bit of a groove and I was like, okay, I have a gym down here and I can work for at least 6 hours a day if I want to. Like then it's just so much better, because I would rather like grind it out and work in Miami than here.
Sure.
He looks out the window listening.
Yeah, dude, I just have disdain for everybody who lives here now. Like it's just
Are you on the West Coast or East Coast?
No, I'm like right above New York.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm like less
Like
than
by
an hour.
Niagara, right?
Yeah,
Beautiful area.
yeah.
Definitely cool.
Yeah, high suicide rate. Beautiful.
Yeah, dude. So the question was, when do I move down? So I'm driving down. I'm taking the truck, which talk about flex purchase. I think that's the biggest flex. Actually, it was so funny because I took it in for an oil change yesterday, and the guy that sold me the truck was there. His name is Corey. He's like a boy of mine now, and he was like, "Dude, like everyone down here like knows who you are. Like they were like waiting for you. They saw your name. They saw the TRX. They knew like." And I was like, "Why, bro? Like you guys probably." It's like the first TRX they've ever sold out of that dealership. This is like a small town dealer. No one has money.
Right.
If they do have money, they're not buying a TRX, right?
Right.
And they saw me when I walked in. And they were like, "Who is this like 14-year-old kid?"
Yeah. Right. Does he have a driver's license?
Yeah. Doing those TikTok dances that made you famous. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, dude. I'm the Canadian Bryce Hall, I think.
Swag, dude.
Yeah, you got to sign to OVO, bro. Yeah.
So I'm driving down on Tuesday, and I'm going to get there for Thursday. I'm going to have my first ever American Thanksgiving in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Man, you know what? That is a beautiful thing, brother.
That's beautiful. Thanksgiving in America. You guys have your own Thanksgiving like right beforehand, right?
Thanksgiving.
It's in October. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know why.
Yeah.
They do it
I
like second week of October. But yeah, no, Thanksgiving down in...
That's when the Canadians slaughtered the native Canadians. They celebrate that like separately, or is it different date?
So what do you call what indigenous people? What do they call Native Americans in Canada? It's different than what we say in America.
Aboriginal?
No,
No way. Yo, I just read a book about the Mayflower and like all this stuff. I don't remember.
That's how you know we're on some old man shit. Colin's out. Our chats are like half like just ridiculous. I'm sure the same shit as you, and then it'll also just be like, "Yo, I've been reading about the Mayflower. The shit's sick.
We don't know about ships.
Yeah, like
our ships, not yachts, old ships.
Old ships, the same
whalers,
size
like
as a yacht.
whalers.
Like part of our group chat, like talk about flexing is like. It's so funny how when you get older, like again, not that I'm old, but like the way I think about spending money is so different. I'm like, you guys, I think I might buy myself a PS5 this Christmas. I literally said this to them the other day, and we're like, oh, but it's $200 overpriced. Like, I don't know if I really want to go spend that money. Like, it just. Colin was at my house today.
Colin, my flexes are like, yo, well, we're getting a luxury art class for the kids. The boutique instructor comes in.
100%.
The thing that actually, like, the reason I thought you guys were fucking sick was because, and I knew you guys were like the uncles of money Twitter, was because the first time I like heard you guys talk was on a space, and you guys were talking about how you got wedding invitations. Already old man type.
Fuck you.
I haven't been invited to a wedding. Ben hasn't, but like you guys were like, oh, we got these wedding invitations. They were written on like Egyptian cotton. Each one cost like some crazy amount. Do you remember what you were talking about? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember exactly.
Dude, I just got one. I wonder if it's here. I was like literally like on a scrolls for a wedding in the Maldives, and it's like, oh, we're doing a week in India first, and you can come do the week in India, or you can just go straight to the Maldives. And it's just like, oh yeah, this is
great.
Yeah, people got money.
Yeah.
It is wild. I have 2 weddings next year. One is for one of my best friends, and one is September in Edinburgh. So I got to go to fucking Scotland for this wedding, and then the next wedding is in Bodrum in Turkey on the 21st.
Yo, that's true. Istanbul wedding is
so I'm just running.
Get raw.
We're just running. I'm doing all next September. I mean, I know
if
you
you
guys
go to
ran around
Bodrum, I need you to pick up
summer.
some rugs for me. It's at a spot like 20 minutes from there, if possible. If we can get do like a textile deal while you're there, that'd be ideal.
I got you, bro. But yeah, that's my flex. Is that like next September is going to cost me like more money than anything.
But bro, you're celebrating 2 kindred souls coming together, you know what I'm saying, over some luxury small plates, you know?
Exactly.
Bro, I can't imagine going on a vacation for 2 weeks and doing what somebody else wants you to do for it instead of what you want to do for a vacation. Like, bro, telling someone to come to a week-long wedding is like, fuck you, dude. Like,
nah, bro, I'm sorry. If I'm doing a week-long wedding, I am definitely telling people what to do because ain't no one. People don't have it. We're ordering food for everybody. Ain't no questions. They are not allowed to do their own thing. Even the dress code. I'm just like, just put it on this Loro Piana. Just roll with it.
Even the hotel. I booked my hotel for the second wedding, and it was 4,000 fucking euros for the hotel for
flex.
For 4 nights. It sounds like a flex to say it, but in my head I was like,
or was it? If it's
no,
1,000
I got the cheapest.
Bro, euros are cheap now, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I got the cheapest room, which was which was €800 a night before taxes and VAT and shit, right? Which brought up to €1,000 a night.
Oh.
And it sounds like a flex to say out loud, but I'm just this old man who was like, God damn, man, 4,000 fucking for this fucking hotel room before I even get myself
For somebody
to
else's
fucking
party?
Turkey. Yeah, to go to someone else's party. I'm not, like I got to also buy a whole new fucking suit for that fucking shit. I got to buy them
kids
a
wearing
gift.
U.S. tux in Turkey. You know what I'm saying? We got.
Bro, I think this wedding is gonna be
Stop
like
over Milan.
in Vogue. I think I definitely gotta have a fucking like a for real fucking suit.
Yo, a serious note for the young guys. Weddings are an absolute blast. Like I feel like when I was a kid, I didn't get it, and I was like cringing when my boys were starting to get married. Weddings are the best. And then my wedding was like period like the best party that I've ever been to. It was fucking, it was excellent. My wife and I keep joking about like doing it again every year, just like same group of people. Because when you don't call it a wedding, it's like super reasonable to pull it off, right? It goes the price drops like by 90%, but weddings are a blast.
Dude, I used to work in a banquet hall, and I just worked so many like poor people weddings that it just brainwashed me into thinking that it's just the worst.
Those are terrible.
Like, yeah, dude, it's just a ballroom, and the DJ is like 70 years old, and like they play Uptown Funk
Katy Perry,
when the room walks out, and I'm like, oh, geez. Like this was
our wedding. I was like, we had drank the we were at the Sagamore in Miami, and we had drank them out of Patron. And I'm like yelling at the guys, being like, it's open bar, like we need more Patron. You know, like it's much better when there's lots of resources.
We'll do another pod where you tell the origin stories, because what I think is funny is that like the three of us got a bunch of old man stories. We worked in different industries, we did different shit. We're all in mid-30s, but like for you guys, like it's interesting because I think you guys are both killers. You're great at what you do, and like super pumped to know you and super excited to be in your orbit. But like unquestionably, it's not possible you've been doing this shit for 15 years, right?
Yeah, you're in the origin story. Like right now.
Yeah, like this is part of the origin story, right? So like I just like what, and we don't have to get into it right now because we're like almost an hour, but like I would love
tales, recurring series.
Yeah. Like what were you? Mason was up in the banquet hall. Ben was bagging groceries. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, but like
never had a job.
I wish I was bagging groceries. Sometimes I feel like I have to put myself in like harder situations just to make the story more interesting, because I want to write a book at 40 or 50. Like it was like, oh yeah, like I just started running online businesses out of high school,
and everything
never really went too bad. I dropped out. Like like where's my like falling asleep in a ditch, almost homeless story? Like that's the one I'm trying to go get.
Well, if you take enough time,
most authors, you can just lie. Yeah.
Well, to say if you take enough time, if you make a nice grip right now, like I did when I was a fucking, you guys are a little older than I was at the time, but I was like a pretty successful affiliate marketer and sold a little CPA network when I was young. That money was gone as soon as I found nightclubs. That money was gone with the quickness, and promise you, my ass slept on some fucking couches and slept on some air mattresses. And like, I just had to learn that lesson.
So what James is saying, get a crippling drug addiction as soon as you get to the next level of success, recover from that. It's a redemption arc. Then you find God's, and you get a whole new demographic that you can sell to, because it's just like, there's layups there. And then the book comes after that. So, I mean, it's advice from James Campbell.
So I'm saying, don't count it out. You might, I'm just saying, you might come, Ben, everything may come crumbling down in a couple years.
That's what I'm hoping for, brother.
It's like a Scorsese movie where it's like everything's sick in the first like hour, and then and then like the happy ending isn't even there. It's like the happy ending is like you start off like you're a little bit better.
And he meets that one Czech girl down in Miami, and it's just
dude, I should have had all my money in FTX or some shit. Like that would have done it.
Okay, go with the original conversation. Since you guys are deep in NFTs, do you want to have the roundtable of how much was lost or made on NFTs? Maybe we can do the bar like throughout.
I mean, so with internet kids,
and we look at our NFTs and be like, how worthless are they now? Last night, by the way, I was sitting on a couch and my friend opens up his phone. He's like, yeah, man, my Coinbase, he didn't really invest in crypto, like very successful dude. But he's like, man, it was $600, now it's 60. I was like, bro, I lost $11,000 on an AI generated Matisse painting a year ago. Don't tell me about your Coinbase $600 L.
With internet kids, I think if we would have sold at the top, and like obviously we still had clothing expenses and fulfillment and the event, I think we probably did a little over 90K in sales. We didn't touch any of that, but so technically we lost that much, but it was never like actualized.
It was unrealized gains.
But how much did you lose on your mutant ape collection?
Yo, if you want a piece of context on how old we are, I sold all my Bitcoin at 1,000.
Woo! Yeah. Mason's face legit just went like...
Colin and I, like, back in the, I don't know, this was like maybe 12 plus years ago. I remember we had a 3D printer and a Litecoin miner, like at the same time. Yeah, it was back when things were like single digit dollars.
It's crazy that
ironically, that's how I got a lot of money.
Now that it's crashed, it's still like 20x more than. I mean,
what you sold
I made
that.
money. Like, it's fine. It is what it is. But
he's gonna go cry after this. Whatever. He's sitting. I can see he's sitting in his new fucking house he just bought. He literally has a fucking Mew in the backyard.
I mean, what's the estimate on that shit, bro? Is it 7 figures estimate or is it 6 figures estimate? That's the only flex we need. You know what I mean?
7. Thank you.
All right, done. Run it. Yeah.
I guess.
All right. Any other things? Anything to plug? Cashflowsyndicate.io.
That won't be relevant
plug your
to
shit.
any of our listeners here.
Copy MBA will be set. If you guys need to set your closer set up, you need your networks going. If you got a funnel that's here and you need to take it to that top funnel, you need that Shaquille O'Neal funnel. You know what I'm saying? How our boy Ben. What's the what are the handles? What are we plugging?
Yes, sir. Ben H. Bader on Twitter and all platforms. Sniper Digital.
I'll co-sign Ben. I don't want to plug anything. I just want to plug Ben. Ben.
This is how you know Mason's just got so many followers. You can go fuck.
Yeah, he doesn't even need this shit.
Yeah, I don't need your old motherfuckers. Get your old ass followers out of here, bro. You know what I mean?
No, for real. Chase and I have worked with Ben on the Copy MBA funnel. I've watched him work. I've watched him get obsessed, and it's fucking insane. And like, I truly believe that he can help anyone with 1,000 followers and a couple bucks in the bank who has an offer. So like, I don't know. You probably got some info people watching. I think that it would be a good decision if you work with Ben.
Well, yeah, luckily, I think we do luckily have some info people watching. So hopefully they close up.
This last week, this me, Chase, Nick. This last week at a Clavio dinner. Actually, the first time I ever met Chase in person.
Yeah, dude, Chase told me about that. Chase told me because I called him yesterday. He was like, I was like, yeah, I'm doing a podcast with James Camp and the boys.
Chase had said he thought we met in because we've like had so many Zoom calls. He's like, dude, it's so good to see you. And I was like, dude, we've never met in person before. He's like, wait, what?
Did you guys share like a petite skirt steak, or what was the vibe at the dinner?
No, it was we did share a petite skirt steak and some pasta.
Did you take them to Caviar Caspa after, or were they not wearing the right gear?
No. But I did go on a date afterwards.
See, this is why you guys got to go to LA instead of Miami. They have the stuff in Miami, but like, if you really want to just blow money for no reason with the SVB membership, Caviar Caspa membership, Soho House membership.
If y'all want to eat $1,000 baked potato, come to LA.
Yeah, you're doing 6 racks in a week just off membership establishments here. They know how to extract money from young gentlemen.
If you can't share food with your boys, you're not really boys. Mason and I shared chocolate cake and Greece, and ever since then, we've been
hold on. We didn't just share chocolate cake. We fed
Lady in the Tramp.
chocolate cake. Like he held out a fork with a piece of chocolate cake on it, and I opened my mouth and I ate
the boys.
He fed it to me.
Boys.
You often see James and I at the Soho House, saying weekend buffet, just go straight to the dessert aisle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oren and I actually did go to Soho House with his wife, and we just like went straight to eat cake for breakfast. We like at the buffet just each put like 3 slices of cake on our plate, and then it'd
have been a long week. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I feel like everything about our lifestyle now is literally just doing all the shit our parents told us not to do when we were 5.
Oh, totally, completely. Oh, I can't wait when my parents see like if we're trying to get this G-Wagon here in the next week or so. We have to get it before the end of the year. We got some tax happenings. My parents are gonna fucking lose it.
Yeah, like what do you do? Well, I realized that
with cake for breakfast, like they're
what I was gonna say. For me, the first real like recognition of what adulthood was like being in charge of what you eat. Like the fact that like I'm truly like that still blows my mind, right? That like I actually decide to eat really healthy all the time, but hypothetically, if I want to just fucking eat cake for breakfast every day, I could be out here eating cake for breakfast.
You can do whatever you want, James.
I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yep,
do whatever I want.
Yeah, that's cool.
I never considered that shit.
All right, so appreciate y'all coming on. Good luck in life.
Whoa. Really escalates.
No, I appreciate you both. Thanks you guys. Cheers.
Thank you guys. It's been awesome.